JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 5th of October 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this first Monday of October where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, let's quickly have a look at what's happening here with the coronavirus. And here, according to this source, the number of course continues to rise, but according to other sources, there is around 35.5 million already people. So yeah, deaths are roughly around the same level, and of course, yeah, the daily cases still continue to balance around here, around the same area, although this seems to be not really updated, but I believe that the number here, oh actually no, I do apologize, yes, it is updated. The numbers continue to fluctuate around the same level, so well, I mean, we can see that there was a decline yesterday, so hopefully this can actually go further down, but to be honest, given the tendency, it seems that the numbers might reverse back to the upside here again, but of course hopefully not, but we'll keep that in mind. Now, a quick update here, and just one quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yeah, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now, jumping into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is Nikkei 225. As you can see, the index continues to struggle with this barrier right here. Let me just quickly mark this on the chart. So this one right here, the 23,580 zone, and yep, in order to aim for some higher levels, we saw a nice move higher today, especially the positive sign of all this is that the index managed to open with a gap here to the upside, well, also it remained above the 21-day EMA shown as the yellow line here, but still stayed near this 23,300 territory. So in a way, for now we'll be cautiously bullish, but yeah, like I said, ideally we would prefer to see a nice good push above this 23,580 zone in order to aim for some higher levels. In terms of the downside, of course, as we saw here on Friday, the index did drift lower heavily here. It also managed to drop below this 23,040 zone, but as you can see, yep, it wasn't a strong confident close below it, and the index reversed back up. So for now, basically what we can say is that overall will remain a little bit on the neutral side, maybe actually, but preferably in order to aim for some higher levels, we'll wait for that push above this 23,580 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Now jumping into German DAX, and here the situation is a little bit more interesting. So overall, you can see that DAX is still kind of let's say hanging above this 200-day EMA, although for example here in September, the index created a new low for September here and drifted towards this level right here. Let me just quickly mark that on the chart, near the 12,341 zone. That's where it found support in September, and it also kind of found support here near this 200-day EMA. So in a way, kind of we can say that as long as this 200, or should I say, as long as the index remains above this 200-day EMA, there's still a good chance we could see this one pushing higher. If we look at the cash index right now and where it's currently balancing at, we can see that the price is currently sitting at around 12,760 zone. So basically, it's above Friday's close, yep, it's not far from this. It's slightly above this level that I talked about, this 12,754 zone. However, as we saw last week, that level kind of got violated here a little bit, so probably I'm going to start looking for a new potential barrier here, after a break of which we could consider some higher levels, and this could be this this highest point of last week near the 12,873 zone. So at the same time, if we get a push above this barrier, this would also place the price above the 21-day EMA, and maybe more buyers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. So that's why for now, what we're going to do here is we're also going to take a bit of a neutral stand, we'll wait for a nice good push above this 12,873 territory in order to aim for some higher levels. In terms of the downside, as I mentioned before, we would like to see a drop below the lowest point of September near this 12,341 zone, and of course at the same time a drop below this, first of all, would confirm a forthcoming lower low and would also place the price below the 200-day EMA, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. And of course, then we have a bunch of good areas of support which could play out nicely here. So the first one would be this 12,254 zone, and the next one could be that 11,957 territory marked by the low of the 25th of June. So again, for now guys, all eyes are on this barrier, the high of last week near the 12,873 zone, and on the downside, a drop below this 12,341 territory could do the trick for more sellers. Now, FTSE 100, I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, and to be honest, it's a little bit of a tricky one. So first of all, I've removed all the lines just to kind of have a nice start, fresh start. So first of all, we can see that it's trading below this downside line here. So if we draw it this way, yep, it's a tentative one, I do understand that, but nevertheless I'm going to keep that on the chart. The other thing is that some of you might maybe say that this could be forming a this could be trading within a falling channel here. Of course, we could consider this idea, but for now, probably I'm going to stay away of this one, because let me just quickly show you, because it might be actually maybe even a bit of a triangle here, because we have a few more touches. Now it's not an ideal sorry, not a triangle, but more of a wedge, a falling wedge, and it's not ideal, of course, but still, as you can see, it looks almost like a channel, but to be honest, it has a bit of a coil up here. It's aiming for that. It seems that it seems like that. So basically, what I'm going to say here is that in a way, such patterns tend to be a bit more bullish, but again, we cannot really talk about any upside, let's say maybe a longer term upside, until kind of the index remains in this pattern. So if you want to look at some higher levels, probably wait for a push above the highest point of September here near the 6,123-24 zone, roughly around here. If you want to aim for the downside, well, a break of this lower side of the wedge here could do the trick for more sellers. For now, maybe the level is to watch this one, but again, it's still above the lower side of the wedge, so that's why it could be a little bit of a difficult one here. What you could do here is I'll probably keep an eye on this low, the low of the 14th of May, near the 5,661 zone. But of course, that's something a bit more longer term. From the very short term perspective, for now, probably how you could play this one out is if we get a push above the high of last week here, near the 5,954 territory. This would also place the price above the 21-day EMA, and yep, we could then start aiming for this upper side of the falling wedge, and then we will take it from there, guys. So let me just quickly put it in arrow here. That's going to be the short-term idea. In terms of the downside, well, keep your eyes on the Friday's low near the 5,809 zone. A drop below this could open the door towards the lower side here. Now, jumping into DXY, and this is another index, but this one is a dollar index, of course. Last week I talked a lot about this one, and what I was saying that in a way, if this territory right here, these 93.81 zone, roughly around there, if it continues to provide support, then yes, there's a possibility for this one maybe to reverse back up and test this downside line taken from the high of the 23rd of March again. So the holdup is currently occurring, so that's still okay for the bulls. It's the rate is the price is still balancing above the 21-day EMA, so also maybe some buyers could see as a positive. However, the little concern here comes on the by looking at the oscillator. So as you can see, for now, yes, we are still on the RSI, for example. For now, we're still above this upside line, this trajectory here, and it's currently declining a little bit, showing kind of pointing a little bit lower, I would say. The same story here as on MACD, but that's why we will for now we'll take it carefully. We'll remain probably on the neutral side. If we get a strong move lower below this area, below this 21-day EMA, then yes, maybe we could see this one declining further. But for now, let's not exclude this opportunity here for the bulls to step in and drive this one higher. However, to be a little bit almost on the safe side, we would prefer to wait for a break of this downside line first, and then a push above the 94.65 territory in order to get a little bit more comfortable with some higher areas. So keep your eyes on that one. Jumping into gold, and gold is doing everything according to the plan that I talked about last week, in the beginning of last week, where I was saying that there is a possibility for this one to move a little bit higher, test maybe the 21-day EMA or this downside line taken from the high of the 7th of August. But if it struggles to overcome this area, then another round of selling here could be possible. And if for now, as we can see, the gold is at a very interesting spot here. In a way, it's also waiting to see what the what DXY is going to do, because if DXY pops higher, gold here might drift a little back down again. So for now, this is half of this idea is working out. Let's see if the other half of the drift lower here will become a reality. If not, if we start seeing a nice good push above this 21-day EMA, above this downside line, then of course, yep, keep your eyes on the upside for a potential move on to the upside. But of course, a break of these two downside lines first would be required, and then I'll pick up on that one later if we do get that strong pop above these two downside lines. Now, jumping into WTI Oil, in here you can see that the commodity last week declined, and in a way it worked out nicely here for me. Basically, what I was saying, that a drop below the 38.74 territory may lead towards this area right here, this 36.15 zone, which is the lowest point of September. So again, we saw a sharp decline. We didn't really reach this level. Today we're seeing a bit of a rebound. However, you can see that the price still remains below all of its EMAs here, the 21, the 100, and the 200-day EMA. It also still remains below this 38.74 zone. So also kind of some bears could see as a good opportunity to step in. Now, If this if this commodity still drifts a little bit higher here, but struggles to overcome this barrier here, struggles to get back above it, then, well, of course, another round of selling here could be possible, and we could see maybe a test of this this 36.15 level that I talked about, or even a break of it. If we do get a drop below this, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines could be possible. But again, for now, we're going to be very careful. If by any chance the price manages to get back above the 38.74 zone, yes, we will aim, or should I say, actually, we'll be very careful, because this area right here is a bit of a neutral one. What I would like to see here is a push above the high of the 18th of September near the 41.46 zone, and then aim for some higher levels, because at the same time the price would be placed above all of its EMAs here. So you have to keep your eyes on those. But for now, the downside scenario is still on the table. Now Ripple, and look at this beautiful move here. So Ripple didn't really kind of reach this this upside support line that I talked about last week, and this one is taken from the low of the 13th of March. The crypto managed to travel higher, and look at this beautiful test of this 0.2550 level, which continues to act as a very nice area of resistance. It's not far from this other line, this downside line taken from the high of the 17th of August. So as you can see, this is where the kind of the holdup occurred, and now we're seeing a bit of a correction back down. So first of all, let me just shift this arrow, because now what I'm going to look at here is, in order to aim for some higher levels, a break of this downside line and a push above this 0.2550 level would be needed, guys. And also, ideally, if we get a nice daily candle, remaining above this territory, then yes, like I said, we could start looking at some higher levels. In terms of the downside, now previously I talked about this level here, but to be honest, what I'm going to do here is going to look at the low of last week near the 0.2277 zone. Well, actually, let me just double check if that's correct. 0.2288 zone, there we go. So a nice good break below this area might also put the price below this upside line as well. So again, it depends how far to the right it's going to travel, but it could be a possibility. So in a way, keep your eyes on this, and keep your eyes on these two lines. In other words, guys, what you could also do is just basically wait for a break of these two one of these lines here in order to consider the next directional move. So for now, long story short, we will take a bit of a neutral stand here, and until it's going to be coiling up here, yep, we're not going to really do anything. But once we see a nice good violation of one of these lines, then I'll start looking at the next directional move, the next short-term directional move. I'll pick up on this one later if we get a nice break here through one of these lines, but for now, like I said, it's a bit on the neutral side. AUDNZD, so this one is quite interesting as well, because yes, we're still trading below this downside line taken from the high of the 21st of August. You can see that this level right here, this 1.0787 territory, continues somehow to provide support, and today we're seeing a bit of a rebound. However, don't get me wrong, we're still below this downside line, so in a way, as long as it remains intact, there is still a possibility for this one to move to the downside. But if you want to be a little bit more on the safe side, what you could do here is wait for a drop below the Friday's low here near the 1.0771, and then yep, we could consider maybe a move to the downside. So that's why, if you're a little bit more on the cautious side, let's wait for a drop below Friday's low and then aim for further declines. In terms of the upside, a push above the 1.0851 zone here could do the trick for more buyers. USDCHF. Now here is also a tricky situation, similar story like with DXY here. Basically, with USDCHF, it's yes, it managed to have a nice move higher, and this is what I was talking about last week, basically, that given that we found a bit of resistance here near this 100-day EMA shown as the green line, it corrected lower, and what I was saying, that if the rate remains above this 0.9242 zone, then we might see something like this, a rebound and a push higher. But if we get a break below it, then all eyes are on the 0.9184 territory, somewhere around here. Actually now, given that we saw a bit of violation here on both of these levels, so what we can do is clear up this a little bit and grab one of the lows here of well, actually the low of last week near the 0.9163 zone. So if we get a drop below this, and today, for example, you can see that we tested that area already, but if we get a strong move below this, then this is where it could become interesting for the sellers, and we could see this this pair drifting further south here. But again, for now, like I said, it is a very interesting situation. We need to keep an eye on DXY as well to see what it wants to do as well. But again, if for the upside, how you could look at this and how you could play this one out is if we get a push back above the 0.9242 zone, roughly around here, then we could go for that a slightly larger correction to the upside and aim for this downside line here, taken from the high of the 23rd of March. But again, at the moment we cannot really do much. I mean, it is currently finding support near this 21-day EMA and near this 0.9163 zone. The only thing that kind of is pointing a bit more to the downside is the fact that we can see that the RSI has broken this this upside line. However, don't get me wrong, if today, for example, this pair reverses sharply to the upside, then the RSI might actually pop back above this upside line. So that's why wait for today, see how everything's going to play out, and then yep, we could squeeze something out of it. But for now, it's just like I said, it's a little bit of a little bit difficult. Now GBPUSD. So last week I talked about this one. I mentioned this one in one of my videos, and basically the fact that it's still let me just actually get rid of this. There we go. So the fact that it's still balancing above this upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of May, so that's great news. What I was saying last week was that if we get a pop above this 1.30 territory, the psychological 1.30, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for more buyers. But if it struggles to do so, and if it, let's say, climbs higher but fails to move above this 1.30 territory, then a reversal back down here could be possible, and we could maybe go and test this upside line again. But for now, it's also a bit of a waiting game here on this pair, so keep your eyes on this psychological 130 zone. If we get a nice pop above it, then yep, higher levels could be met. In terms of the downside, well, of course, ideally a break of this upside line would be needed, but keep your eyes on the on this level here, this 1.2763. A nice drop below it would also place the rate below the 200-day EMA, and maybe a move towards this upside line could be possible. So again, but we're closer right now towards the towards the psychological 130 zone, so all eyes are on that one. Now, euro against the Turkish lira, and basically I've looked at this one last week a lot, and after we saw the pair forming in an all-time high last week, where it hit the 9.2151 zone, roughly around here, then the pair reversed sharply to the downside and dropped below this level that I spoke about previously, this psychological 9 zone, and we're still waiting for a nice daily candle to kind of stay below this psychological 9 zone in order to go for a bit of a larger correction. For now, the pair is stuck here. It seems to be recovering somewhat again, but even with the upside, I would say we'll take a cautious approach, and in order to aim for some higher levels, we need to see a push above this 9.2151 zone, this all-time high, and then we could consider a move higher. Until then, until it's stuck in between these two levels, we're going to take a bit of a neutral stand. And finally, Euro USD. So the pair is also doing everything according to the plan, and the pair is still struggling to overcome this barrier, this 1.1753 territory, and of course this downside line taken from the high of the 1st of September. So in a way, as long as it's going to stay here below this area, below this territory, now there is still a good chance for the bears to step in here and drive this one lower. However, of course, if this downside line gets broken, now this is where we could start looking at some higher levels. But it seems that Euro USD is also waiting for DXY and see what it's going to do here, unless it will be the euro who's going to be the trigger point here. So that's why for now, let's see how all this is going to play out. There is a bit of news here coming out today, so not much, but we do have the services PMIs from Europe and from UK. So yep, let's see how that's going to play out. Hopefully, at the moment the expectations are a little bit mixed here. So the European Eurozone services PMIs are expected to come out the same at 47.6, but the UK ones are believed to have declined fractionally. But again, let's see how all this is going to come out. For the Turkish, for this pair, for the Euro TRY, also keep your eyes on. We do have in about half an hour Turkish inflation numbers. So we'll see if this pair will get moved by that in any way. Most likely not, but yeah, we can just keep an eye on that one as well. So guys, for now, like I said, on the euro, long story short, as long as it remains below this downside line, there is still a good chance for this one to drift lower. But if that line gets broken, then yep, higher levels could be met. So keep your eyes on that one. Be very careful, guys. Stay safe. And yep, as always, you can join my videos, my traders tea time video as always, around 13:15 GMT today. I'll pick up on some of these instruments, some new ones, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the session. I really appreciate that, guys, for your time. But yeah, I'll have to wrap it up right now, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.